Hello, my name is Hartej Singh, and I am one of the co founders of this new training academy called GST Shiksha. So, I have co founded this with a team of brilliant chartered accountants and company secretaries who come from a firm called BCL, which is 110 employees in three locations, one in Bangalore and two in interior Karnataka. And they have been very successful in building a GST practice ever since GST was announced by the government in 2016. So they started running training programs even before the release of GST in order to help their customers prepare for GST. And then subsequently, these firms are in need of continuous services as regards GST, invoicing, filing the returns, then reconciling, filing the larger returns, which is quarterly, and then the largest one is annual. So they kept hiring people and having these people come fresh from all the training programs in the land. They had to teach everybody what GST actually is. So it's like a university teaches you, well, that's a car, and oh, by the way, that's a pedal, and that's a clutch, and that's the accelerator, and that's the wheel. And then somebody else drives the car, and you sit there, you say, oh, that's how it's done, huh? Okay, next topic. So if somebody says, oh, that's a car, can you drive it? Obviously, the answer is no, I can't. And I have to go back to driving school. This is a driving school, and it teaches you just one skill: how to do GST. Why does that matter? It's because the government, in trying to reconcile all of the layers of taxes, see, tax revenue drives government. So, who all want to take the money that you are paying as a consumer? Central government, state government, and the local government. All of them want their revenues to be driven from this tax. So, by the way, GST is much larger than income tax because income tax has exemptions and people above a certain level pay it, but GST everybody pays. So when you go to a restaurant and purchase a dish, the GST that comes is regardless of how rich or poor you are. It's always the same. They have to collect it. So the government combined all of these various separate taxes into a single tax called goods and service tax, and made it 18%. So when a shop is selling you a product for 100 rupees, they are going to charge you 18 rupees. Let's assume 18% is the applicable tax on this product that you're dealing with. So they're going to charge you 18 rupees, and so you pay 118. But the shopkeeper purchased that product from the supplier for 80 rupees. So he paid for the incoming product, he paid 14.40. So now when he receives the 18, the government has already received the 14.40 because this shopkeeper paid it. So now the shopkeeper pays only the difference between 18 and 14.4. So that means he has to pay 3 rupees and 60 paisa. Now the government says, okay, I need you to pay me that money. End of the month, 30th, you've received money till the end of the month. By 10th, you paid. And then you have to give me a statement that explains your input tax credit that you have taken and your sales. Now, the company that sold you that product also has to file their return, which shows that they paid you, collected 14.40, and had they paid their delta. So the government has to do a lot of reconciliation. And there are some numbers out there which are ridiculous, but uh, between 60 and 80% of all government receipts, reconciliation is still pending. So everybody who got a GST number is accumulating fines for every day that they delay in filing that reconciliation. So it comes time for paying the taxes, and the GST assistant computes that we have to pay so much GST to the government. Now the management may say, okay, pay it. But suppose management says, oh, I'm having a cash flow problem. Let me pay a little less. And the balance we'll pay when we are filing our return. Because that time we'll say, oops, I made a mistake. So here's the delta. And come time for the return, and that management says, I've got this money I got for 1.5 months or whatever period. Why don't I purchase a couple of trucks of steel in the meantime? And from the proceeds, I'll pay. And then the proceeds come and they may pay it, or they may say something else, and then so, okay, I bought a Mercedes Benz. Now, the GST that I paid on that is a lot of money. So you deduct the GST. But you can only if you're offering that Mercedes as a taxi and you're a taxi business. So somebody has to stand up and say, boss, you can't. But somebody timid is there. You'll say, okay, sir. Now the company is going to get deeper and deeper into trouble. So who is solving this problem? Third-party agencies like chartered accountant firms. And how much do the CA firms charge for providing such a service? A lot of money. They can bundle it into compliance. They can charge 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 a month, easy. So now, every company has this problem, and the problem is burgeoning. It is bigger and bigger, and there is no solution. So there's no 15,000 person who takes 15,000 rupees and do the job. Because the guys who can do it are chartered accountants who are, rocket scientists. So there's a massive vacuum. And the number of, remember, GST is driving the Indian economy. 1.3 lakh crores per month is the revenue collection of the government. So every company is paying it. Every company is paying an approximate amount. And the real reconciliation is always pending. And they not only reconcile their existing bills, they have to go into the portal where they'll see the invoices that have been uploaded by the suppliers. Now you take that supplier bill and your inputs and say, yeah, this matches, this matches, this matches. Oh, by the way, this doesn't match, and this is not an input tax credit. It's not eligible, like that Mercedes-Benz example that I gave you. Somebody qualified has to be able to do this, to go into GST.gov, open the portal, and upload information on behalf of the company. That's a highly qualified and a highly valuable person. And that's what we're going to make you. In a 6-week program, that is going to be taught to everybody who has finished his or her 6th semester. And we really have no constraints from our side, But remember that companies that recruit will have as a qualification that you have to have cleared the sixth semester. So if you have not passed your sixth semester, then we can't help you. Don't take this program, because for us, success is in your getting a job and you're holding that job. So if you don't get the job simply because you fail to qualify on the incoming, then we are guaranteed to be deemed a failure, because we want to show on our track record the number of students that became part of a program and the number of students who landed the job. And our desire is for that to be in the high 90s, because we'll figure out why the person is not getting the job and we'll fix it, because we know. So you need to have cleared a sixth semester. So if you haven't yet, give it a best shot and do nothing else, because that becomes your entry point into our program. Now, once you enter our program, you will go into the chapters, and each chapter is a half an hour, all inclusive, per day, 5 days a week. Then on the Saturday, we're going to have a live Zoom call where the faculty, namely me, is going to teach the students how to their feedback on their ACE interview track, which is a different video which we invite you to take a look. And on Sunday, we're going to have a Zoom call for the GST lessons that were taught. Now, we recognize that while the screen has English, but learning in English becomes a hurdle for people who don't have an absolute command of the language. So we're going to teach this in Kannada and Hindi as well. So the professor is going to speak, and all the videos that we are making are going to be consistently in one language, so that you can understand. It's important for you to understand the concept. And then, because when you open the GST portal, then it's in English, but it says enter this, and you know how to, the keyboard is in English, which is fine. You can enter the number. But conceptually having a discussion with your colleagues and then understanding whether to do it or not to do it requires conceptual clarity regardless of language. So we recognize that. So we're going to now break through this limitation and offer it in these two languages today. We'll add more languages as we go. So now, you take the 6 week, the 6 week program has 5 weekday sessions of half an hour each into 6. So there are 30 videos. Along with that, we'll give you some reference materials, some reading materials, because some people may want to read more, and we will make that available. And then you take a quiz. Now, when you start the quiz ends. Like at every exam, if it says 2 hours, the proctor at the end of that session says, okay, 2 hours is over. Wherever you are, pencils down. Similarly, if we say that the quiz is supposed to be for 15 minutes, then it's over in 15 minutes. And it'll be multiple choice. And you will get instant grade. And if you've succeeded, then the quiz icon disappears. There's a check mark which says what your score was and how long it took to do it. If you fail, you go back and take the same course again. Oh, by the way, all future courses are locked. So we focus you on only one thing, and you get that done, and then you go to the next one. It's coming, it's right there. So you go back and take the same session again, and you take the quiz again. And this time, if you fail, then we have an escalation problem. something is really off, and we need to figure out what that is. Because if you can't do such a simple thing, I just taught you and then asked you a couple of questions, and if you can't answer it, then what? Why? So I think that'll be time for us to have a Zoom call. And we'll figure out what's the situation. So now, while you are going through the program, there'll be conceptual skills, and there will be then hands-on learning. So you'll be doing things and taking screenshots and uploading it, etc. And then the Zoom call on the weekend is going to have 3 tracks. One in English, one in Kannada, and one in Hindi. All 3 professors. There are 3 professors who are going to teach this. So I'm going to teach the English one, and there are one other professor who's also going to be teaching English. Then we have the Hindi one, then we have the Kannada one. All 3 tracks will be available. So on the weekends, we're gonna review. We're gonna answer questions, so you know that you're not being left in the cold. And then the next week begins, and once you see the list of chapters, you will be pretty zapped by the precision, the quality of thinking that has gone into designing this program. And we believe that you are going to wind up learning skills that are not available to anybody out there, and for which there's huge demand. And once you join the company, you'll be sitting along with the corporates. You won't be sitting on the outer circle. You'll be sitting with the accountants. You'll be interacting with the warehouse staff, the people who process the bill, accounts payable, management, attending budgetary meetings, doing cash flow, meaningful stuff. Not the kind of stuff that a fresh BBA or BCom student gets from a university just fresh out. This is very rare, as a very rare exposure, and we are going to give you support for life. So once you've accessed our portal, you will be able to go back again later and see the latest materials that are uploaded. And we're going to do webinars for all our past students. So as soon as the GST comes out with a new rule, they are always trying to close loopholes, make coverage, give exceptions. And for example, exports. So you may have gotten, as a company, you may have gotten permission to export this product, and you're exporting remdesivir, and it is now sitting at the export terminal in Bangalore airport. And the government says, oh, no, you cannot export this remdesivir. You have to now release it back into India. So now the paperwork is brand new. This does not exist. So the government now issues a form, then issues a clarification. We will be the first people on this. We will create those those new update videos, and we will circulate it to all our past students free of charge. As you're going through and you encounter an issue, you will bring it to our attention, and we will solve it free of charge. And then we will make that video to solve that issue and make it available to everybody else. Just one input and many output. Many people benefit. Just one-to-many learning, which for us is a huge opportunity to provide amazing value. And then those corporates then start to love us and come back and say, well, if you've trained this guy, I'm good. So I am from IIM Ahmedabad, and the program, funnily enough, is called PGDM, postgraduate diploma in management. Oh, really? Why not degree? Because there were a lot of constraints imposed by the universities. So they said, no, 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 we don't want any of those constraints. So they said, no, you can only give a diploma. They said, no problem. And they gave only a diploma. But it was the quality of the students and the skills that they had and their immediate value to the companies that made it the most valuable degree or certificate on the wall of each of these people who graduated the program. So it's not whether it's a degree or not, it is the fact that that stamp, which comes from us onto you, represents to the corporate that this specialist is worth hiring, and simply because they'll acknowledge one very important thing, that you know more about this subject than I do. That is amazing power, and we are going to ensure that you have it the day you arrive. It's going to all happen in 6 weeks, 30 minutes a day, and you'll be transformed at the end of the experience. Welcome aboard.